What's up, YouTube? For once, I'm going to get straight to the point. I have gathered you here today to tell you that ACL surgery recovery does not take 6 months. As much as we would all like that to be true, when we pick our surgery date and imagine ourselves getting back on skis 6 months from that date, it's not going to happen. Here I am at 6.5 months post-op of my second ACL surgery in a row, and I have done almost everything right at every step of the way in this recovery. I've gone so hard on my strength training, my plyometric training, my recovery, my rest, everything. And I came out swinging right out of the bat after surgery, and I am still not ready to return to skiing, but I will be soon. And I just want to address the prevailing myth that an ACL surgery complete recovery can happen in 6 months. Realistically, it probably can't, no matter how dedicated you are to your training and rehab. It's a long process. This recovery is a really long, arduous process that involves so many factors, including strength training of specific muscle groups, addressing asymmetries in your gait and everything else that you do, rest, recovery, ligamentization, my favorite word. There are so many inputs that go into how your knees perform, and it's a lot to address over a 6 months period. But I've made a lot of progress in 6 months. I'm doing a lot of things normally. I'm walking normally, hiking, running, riding a bike, but skiing is not one of them. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of work and I have a lot of work to go ahead of me, but at this time, around 6 months, is a really good time to check in by doing a return to sport test. Now, ideally, you would do a return to sport test with a physical therapist in an office that has a force plate. However, I personally have never found a physical therapist who has a force plate, but today I'm just gonna do the return to sport test movements at home on my own and use video feedback to see any asymmetries that I still have so I can address these in my training going forward. And also just to give myself a realistic picture of where I'm at so that I can have a little reality check and get a sense of how far I have left to go before I can credibly pass the return to sport test and get back on skis safely. First up, we've got a single leg step down. Next up, we've got single leg hops. Okay, this one is perhaps the most exciting, the triple jump test. So I definitely improved on my left side on my third try, but I was still significantly behind the results on my right side, so that's really good for me to know. Another fun one is deceleration. Maybe it was just the way I was pushing off with the same foot every time, but that one definitely was really uneven. Next, we've got drop jump. Lateral shuffle. And last but not least, we have the Y balance test. When I've done this in a physical therapy office before, they've used those little orange cones that are used in like soccer drills. But obviously I didn't bring any soccer cones with me to Mexico, so I'm gonna use The only thing I have 3 of the same of, which is 3 pairs of underwear. Okay, so based on how I performed on these tests, I can confidently say that I am not ready to return to skiing next week. I've made a lot of progress and I feel like I'm in a really good position in terms of strength and coordination and balance side to side, but I have a ways to go, especially around power movements on my right and left sides. It's good to see this. It's good to give myself a little check and say, like, I'm making really good progress, but we're not there yet, and have kind of a renewed motivation to keep at it. It's it's been a long 6.5 months of ACL rehab. On one hand, it's definitely frustrating that, 6.5 months deep and I'm not even done yet, but it is what it is. I was warned going into my whole ACL journey that this is a really frustrating and long surgery to recover from, and that's absolutely right, so. But hey, when I'm starting to feel a little bit exhausted and frustrated and burnt out after 6 months of ACL rehab, then, I can always just go to Mexico.